I'm checking. I'm checking the connection here. Check 1 2. Can y'all hear me? Looks like I'm live. Bart, do you want to see if we're live on the website? Check 1 2. Hey everybody, we're just getting ready for Pastor Paul. Biggest news night of the year, and they kick Pastor Paul off of streaming live. What do you know? If you're catching flack, you're over the target.
I've been using. Yes, it says live. The broadcaster has not started streaming. Please wait.
Okay. We are. We're live. I know we're live on my channel. It says that we're live on Paul Begley Prophecy, Twitter, and Facebook for Pastor Paul. Looks like we got a bunch of people in the chat room already. There's 97 people here on my channel, which is strange because I never go live. Okay, Pastor Paul, you ready to do this?
I'm ready to do this.
You strap into the cockpit. I've got the headset here. You're ready to fly. Hey everybody. So yeah, it's going to be a wild ride tonight. You guys remember what Mike said? It's Pastor. No, it does say check. It's all working.
Yeah, I'll refresh, but it
Refresh channel, yeah, because it's. I'll let you look at it, Pastor.
Okay, yeah. It's gonna be a wild night tonight. I see that.
Yep. Probably the biggest news. I mean, the Stone Steps prophecy is coming to pass. Obviously, what's next? What's next? Stone Steps. But they give us a copyright, which pretty bogus. Why I'm not streaming the Rumble?
We didn't have the option.
We didn't have that option on StreamYard. We just had never set that up, or for whatever reason, I never got there. We're live right now, so let me know if we're live at our website. Where's the camera at here? Is that right there?
We're not live at the website because it keeps saying waiting on the broadcaster has not started streaming.
Yeah, it's streaming. Must need new credentials.
Why would you need new credentials for? It's the same StreamYard. Is this my StreamYard? Yeah.
I have all the boxes checked. You see up there?
Yeah, they're all checked. Yeah. Hang on a second. Let me try looking at. Do I got it on a phone here? Let me open Paul Begley Prophecy. It still might be. Sorry, folks, just hang on with me for just a second.
Oh, Begley, it's a while.
Wow. Can you believe this? One thing, Heidi, we'll be able to post it on Patreon when we're done. Bart?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mom will have to post it when I'm done tonight.
She's texted Jade right now.
Okay.
Did he fix it midstream?
He probably can. He maybe can't. So we'll see. All right. All right. There's Paul Begley. You want to go to Paul Begley TV, right?
Yes.
And well, it's just fun to try to look for that when you're on a phone. Yeah. Let's see. That's exclusive content, right? And there we are. Please wait. The broadcaster's not starting streaming. Yep. Which I've never seen that do that before. So it says we're live even.
Got 400 people on my YouTube.
Yep. Okay, so mom, you're saying that Heidi is trying to contact Jade. All right, we'll let her work on that. Guys, welcome to the Coming Apocalypse. I'm Pastor Paul Begley. We are live on Israel Hall's YouTube channel. I'm glad you guys were able to find it. We are also live on Facebook and on Twitter, I believe. And we're supposed to be live on our website, but for some reason, that's not engaging either. And Heidi is working on that for those, because I know people are going to go there because we told them to go there. But anyway, I'm glad you guys found us here at Israel Hall. Izzy, thanks for giving us a backup. Yeah, it does. It does. It really does pay off. So tonight, a very confusing night. Can you imagine? I was getting ready to go live. I'm pushing the buttons to go live, and it won't let me go live. And then I find out the reason is because I have a copyright strike, which is really strange because I haven't had a copyright strike in 3 years. But on the biggest news night, they're probably hit America. They don't want too many people. They don't want 80,000 people hearing what my front world has to say about the Stone Steps. What's next? The Stone Steps. But it is true. Trump was indicted by a New York grand jury today. I'll just be honest with you. I still don't know what the charges are. They're not federal. They're I guess they're New York State. But they're really weird. I know it has to do with the Stormy Daniels thing, but that's past the statutory that's past the time limit. I can't remember the exact terminology, just it slipped me just now. So I don't know how they can do that, but anyway, it's none of my business really. I'm just saying I don't even know why this man's even being indicted. But the key question is, I guess he's indicted. It's sealed. The indictment is. So we don't know really what the charges are. Drudge says he has 30. There's 34 charges. Don't know what that means. So we'll wait and see what that is. Yeah. And so I guess what's next? The Stone Steps, because those of you who watched the webinar, you know that you know, as Mike shared with you his dream and told you that Trump would be walking down the stone steps. So I guess is that what's next? Now that this indictment has come, is the stone steps next? That's going to be the question. We'll have to wait and see. Meanwhile, Israel, the nation of Israel, has just did airstrikes, and they've just hit Damascus within the hour. Again, hitting Iranian targets as the Iranians are trying to get in position to stockpile more weapons, whether they're getting them to Hamas or they're giving them to Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, or maybe they're giving them, the Syrians themselves, setting up shop, the Iranians themselves. And of course, Benjamin Netanyahu has got to make sure that he can protect Israel, so he's got to keep blowing up, shooting down any threat that could get to Israel that is being built in Syria or Lebanon or in the Gaza Strip. So we're watching that closely. That's going on tonight. Someone said the sound is terrible. Really? I don't think so either. Do you hear it, Israel? Okay, we'll check it out. I don't think so. I'm looking at my, I think it sounds pretty good. A little click. Yes. Yes. But that's not, the phone is not working. It's not going through the phone.
Oh, did we have a problem last time with StreamYard on another device?
I'm not remembering. I'm looking at this here. It's not green. It's just green.
Here's what we're doing. A few tricks in my book. That turns it off. Now we're going to return it on.
Testing 1, 2. We're not even using that yet. We're not even using that yet. That's that phone. Mike's going to call on that phone right there. Okay. Hopefully it'll be better. Can I see that? Everything okay? Test. Everything good? It's messed up? So what's the sound? Sound is really bad. They said it's crackling. Testing 1, 2.
Yeah, I wasn't doing that before.
Testing 1, 2. Test. Testing 1, 2. Test. Are we still cracking? Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2, 3. Test. Is that better? Is testing 1, 2. Ron DeSantis has joined in. Ron DeSantis has joined in a little bit here. He says that he will not extradite President Trump to New York if Trump decides he doesn't want to go and turn himself in next week. Ron DeSantis says Florida will not extradite President Trump. Of course, Trump hasn't said what he's going to do. He originally had already said that he would surrender if he was indicted. So they're saying you're static. Okay. Izzy's working on it, folks. It's the same system we've always used and it never was static.
Just a second. Can you unplug?
Test.
Can you replug into this one? Everything that you do, replug into that.
Test. How about this? Testing 1, 2. Is this any better, folks? Test. Izzy sounds good. Someone just said, are you sure? Test. There's no light coming on at all. Test. There we go. Test. All right, guys, let me know if this sounds better. Yes, they said yes. Thumbs up. Thank you so much. They're messing with me. This phone here, testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Still staticky? Is it this? Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. We're trying to get rid of the static, so you guys hang in here. Could be the mic, might not be. It was working fine. We're just getting hit on every side here. Slight static. It's the mic. Okay, what's another option? Can I use the mic off? Then they can't hear mic. Yeah, because we have to have this so that mic around the world will flow through here.
Let's try this. Turn your microphone all the way down. Your microphone channel.
Testing 1, 2. It's off. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. 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 Testing.
Can you go to your audio?
The red light's not on over here. Yeah. So what do I do? Testing. Can you hear me? Because there's no sound on right now. I gotta turn this up. Test. Testing. Testing 1, 2. All right. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. The light ain't on though.
Yeah, that doesn't even make any sense. It shouldn't even be playing right now because we don't have 48. I mean, it shouldn't even work.
Testing.
It's like it's wanting to pick it up from both. Why don't we do this? No. Do it straight from my iPad.
Okay.
And then let's figure out what's going on in just a minute. Why don't you talk now? Let's see if it's doing it.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, we'll just do it without a microphone. And then we'll figure out how we're going to get mic around the world on.
No, do it without the mic.
Yeah.
Do it without the mic, guys.
Bart? Okay, so the website's working?
Yeah, you gotta look at the link.
Okay. All right, we're working on the microphones now.
Now you're being hit.
Okay. All right, Bart, thanks. In other words, the Paul Begley Prophecy website is now working. For those of you who need to know that, glad that. So we got people here watching right now here at your channel, Izzy, and also folks are watching from our website at paulbegleyprophecy.com, Facebook and Twitter. But we're under attack. I mean, the microphones are just all of a sudden go bad. First of all, the YouTube channel got hit with a copyright first time in 3 years. A real strange copyright, actually. So let me try to get myself focused.
So while you're doing that, I'll talk to the people and get one of your things
okay,
here.
the camera's way over here.
Way over here. Let me. I need to go to your settings real quick.
Okay.
Pardon me, people. I'm sorry. Where are your settings at? I'm not used to doing this.
It wasn't staticky no more, is it?
Oh yeah, it's staticky without the interface. They're hitting you
I mean,
on
right now we're staticky.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, if we talk right now, you guys can still hear it, right? I mean,
Yeah, they say it sounds good
Yeah.
enough they can hear. It's just we have a little bit of hit. We had static.
So it is possible that we need to do because we really need this in here for Mike. I mean, we really do. We really do.
Well, it'd be a little staticky with him, but
It's better than not being able to hear.
right.
You
We gotta have it even staticky.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do.
Plug it in. I'll put the headset. And testing 1, 2. Test. Testing 1, 2. All right.
do that.
Okay.
Now, Mike's thing, this is going to need to go into this
Yep.
at some point. I'll leave it down for right now. Actually, no, I'll turn it up.
And this has to be plugged into it.
Yeah.
Where'd that go?
That in a second. So ask everyone if it's sounding better now. I got to go test it on.
Well, there's a hum till you get that plugged in.
Okay. I'll turn this down.
Testing.
So we'll just leave it down for now.
Okay.
Is that better?
Testing 1, 2.
Are we clear? You have some override.
I think so. We'll have to turn that up when Mike calls to get him on, but we'll do that when he calls. Anyway, we do have 1,600 people here on your channel at Israel Hall channel, and we also have people watching on our website. So let's get into some of this right now. As we said, President Trump has been indicted by a New York grand jury. We're not sure what he's charged with exactly. It's not federal charges because the feds had already decided that this wasn't anything you want to do, that nobody wanted to charge a former president. That's never happened in 240 years of American history. But the New York City, the New York State grand jury, I think it's New York, it's Manhattan actually, grand jury has decided to indict former President Trump. Ron DeSantis, the governor, has said that Florida will not extradite Trump. If Trump decides he's not going to go, and they're saying that the rumor is that it may happen next Tuesday or Wednesday, that Trump would be expected to turn himself in to the district attorney in New York. And DeSantis says that if President Trump decides he does not want to be, if Trump decides he is not going to turn himself in, then DeSantis says, I will not extradite Trump. Florida will not allow Trump to be extradited from the state of Florida. That's yet to be seen if we even get that far. Okay. Meanwhile, Israel has launched an attack on Iranian locations, military installations surrounding Damascus. That's happening right now. We don't know the extent of that, but that is happening. Also, Russia has arrested a Wall Street Journal reporter. A Wall Street Journal American reporter has been arrested in Russia and has been charged with spying. This guy is a reporter for the Wall Street Journal. He's an American, and he has been arrested by the Kremlin and has been charged with spying. So now we have a U.S. citizen who was a journalist working for the Wall Street Journal who's now been charged with spying in Moscow, Russia. That's happening. And it, as if tensions couldn't get any higher. Also, we've had an X-class solar flare today, 1.2 solar flare, very powerful solar flare. And that has happened on the sun. We've also had a 6.3 earthquake today in Chile and a 6.8 earthquake yesterday or a few hours ago in Afghanistan. And so the question is, I was talking to Bart, my son Bart Begley, BC Begley was asking, and we were talking about it. And from what we understand, the solar flare, maybe what's caused this, and maybe there's been another wave. And that's a question for Mike from around the world tonight. Mike will be joining us tonight. That'll be a question for Mike from around the world. Has there been another wave of energy that has caused the sun to erupt again? And is that what's causing these earthquakes? Because it's talking about earthquakes. We have massive swarms of earthquakes, massive swarms of earthquakes at Yellowstone National Park there at Yellowstone, right on what's called Yellowstone Lake, has had massive amount of earthquakes right on the lake, okay? Right on the lake. So we got that going. And there was 88 of them yesterday. They're still going on. Yeah, finding me tonight very confusing. I'm very sorry for that, Michael. We got hit with a copyright on our main channel just before we went live on probably one of the biggest news nights in a long time with the indictment of President Trump. I just don't know. I find that very, very, very coincidental. Let me tell you what else is happening. We had a train derailment in Minnesota early this morning. 14 of the 40 cars derailed, and they were carrying toxic, hazardous material, ethanol, which exploded in Minnesota. And so, what a terrible situation that is. Okay? I mean, think about it. What a terrible, terrible situation to have that happen. It's in a little town called Raymond, Minnesota. They've had to evacuate about half the town, as that's ethanol in a train derailment. Another one. Pete Buttigieg was on top of it. As we said earlier today, Pete Buttigieg was on top of that. He tweeted at 6:30 this morning that he was watching it closely. Also, we had a serious problem today. Rioters stormed the Tennessee Capitol. Rioters stormed the Capitol there in Tennessee over what they want changes in gun rights laws. And so it was almost like, literally these people stormed the Capitol, and there was a serious confrontation that went on for a while. And that happened in Tennessee. Of course, that's because of the shooting that took place there. They're saying at the church there, the Christian school that was attacked by the gunman who went in and killed 3 children and 3 adults before he was shot and killed. There's a lot of confusion in that whole thing. So we'll just wait and see what comes out of that. But obviously, I think every time we have a school shooting, every time we have a catastrophe like that, a mass shooting of any kind, we know then the same situation gets raised in the media about gun rights and that kind of thing. Speaking of gun rights, Florida today just passed a new law that no more permits are needed to carry a gun in the state of Florida. So no permits are needed. No more permits in the state of Florida. They're not the only state that has that. There's other states. Indiana has that. I know Tennessee. There's some others. But now Florida has said there's no longer do you need a permit to carry a gun. And so one hand you got that, and the other hand you got this rioting going on at the Capitol in Tennessee. All right. And while that's going on, the Pope is in the hospital in Rome. There at the Vatican. He was taken from the Vatican with a severe lung infection, respiratory infection. He's missing part of his lung from a long time ago when he was a child. Actually, he's 86 years old, and he's really become very frail. And then he got a respiratory infection that it was pretty bad. He is put in the hospital right now and is going to remain in the hospital for several days, they say. So this is a pretty serious respiratory infection for the Pope Francis. So there's a lot of concern going on right now at the Vatican about his health. So that's happening simultaneously with all this other stuff. Then we had very, very sad situation at Fort Campbell in Kentucky as 2 Black Hawk U.S. military helicopters crashed into each other in the air, killing all 9 aboard both. There was 5 in one helicopter and 4 in the other helicopter. These were Black Hawk. So Black Hawk down, we have two 2 Black Hawk helicopters colliding, crashing, and all 9 U.S. Army personnel are dead. Very sad situation, folks. It happened in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. So our prayers are going out to the families of these brave service men and women who lost their life in this terrible crash. So please pray for them, pray for the families, as that's a very unfortunate situation. We also had a tugboat accident on the Ohio River down at Louisville, Kentucky. A tugboat pulling 11 barges crashed into a emergency management stationary dock. And when the tugboat hit the dock, 10 out of the 11 barges broke away from the tugboat and were floating down the Ohio River. And they began to crash into the bridges and into different things. And one of those 10 barges then capsized, or I should say sank, and began to leak 144,000 tons of methanol. So we had ethanol at the derailment in Minnesota, the train derailment. It was ethanol, caught on fire, huge explosion. That was in Raymond, Minnesota. But in Louisville, Kentucky, it is methanol, which is pesticides. It's chemical that's used for pesticides and all kinds of really, really toxic material, very hazardous, very toxic, and 144,000 tons of it spills into the Ohio River in Louisville, Kentucky. A tragedy for sure. Again, this is another unbelievable situation. So these are just some of the highlights of the day. I mean, there's a whole lot more stuff goes on around the world. But I mean, this is some pretty severe highlights. And so we need to recognize that we're living in very, very dangerous times. What's that? Are you talking to me, Israel?
Sorry, I was talking to Bart.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to make Miss CD a moderator on my channel.
Okay. So Bart and Israel and Heidi are all working on setting everything up here. Missy D is going to be made a moderator for over here at Israel's channel to help out here. We cannot go live at my channel tonight. Just before the broadcast, they decided to give me a copyright. I haven't had one of those in 3 years. But I guess this was such a big night with President Trump being indicted that they just confusion. Okay, a lot of confusion. We'll probably get this cleared up. Heidi will probably be working on getting that copyright taken away, but sometimes that can take a couple weeks. So we'll give you I'll do a video tomorrow on my YouTube channel. I can do videos. I just can't go live on my YouTube channel. So I'll do a video tomorrow giving you the plan on how we'll go live on Sunday night, okay? And
You do have a Rumble channel, right?
yes, I do have a Rumble channel, and maybe we'll go live on my Rumble channel Sunday night. We just don't have it hooked up tonight, but that'll be we'll get that ready by we'll still go live at my website at paulbegleyprophecy.com, and we'll go live at Rumble on Sunday night. I do have a Rumble channel, so if somebody wants to find my Rumble channel and post the link in the chat room here at Israel Hall's YouTube channel, you can do that, and everybody can be ready for that for next Sunday night. If Israel Hall, if Israel Hall's channel gets shut down because of me on YouTube, you can find him at Freedom Fellowship, okay? In the villages. This is why, just so you know, those of you who are watching at my website at paulbegleyprophecy.com, this is why we had to set up paulbegleyprophecy.com. This is why we had to set up Rumble. This is why we had to set up, alternative options. This is why we run our webinars at paulbegleyprophecy.com or on separate links that we give you when you get your tickets. Because, look, every time that something major change, a major change in the nation, or in really seriously, when it's big, like tonight, it's big. Like, you have really no, you get no heads up. You have no idea. So you have to have a backup plan. And so I've had my Rumble channel, Israel. I've had my Rumble channel for over a year, and I've been posting videos. Heidi posts all the videos over there. This is why we have a Patreon channel. Matter of fact, this broadcast right here we're doing right now will get posted on Patreon, because there'll be people who can't find this. They don't know how to find Israel Hall's number or Israel Hall's channel. They don't know how to even get on paulbegleyprophecy.com. When they get there, they don't know where it's at. It said PBTV. I got to click on exclusive content. They can't figure it out. They got people who watch me on Roku, on my channel. That's the only place they know to find me. Tonight, they can't find me. They're freaking out right now. They're at home. Right now, I can tell you, Israel, they're sitting home right now. They got the Roku channel on. They're going to Paul Begley's channel. They're so used to it. And that's the only place they go. And when that gets shut out, now they don't know what to do. So now we got to go through a period of time where we have to send people to Rumble and also to our website. We have to post it on Patreon, so everybody who missed the show tonight can watch it on Patreon tomorrow. Heidi will do that. Or Israel may have to do that since we got it over here. He probably have to throw it over there. This is why BC Begley has a channel. We'll probably start linking him into it too while we're at it. We always can do that. But we will get you. We will. I have a Rumble channel, and maybe that's what we'll do is we'll just do all our live broadcasting at Rumble until we get out of the penalty box. I'll continue to do YouTube videos on my YouTube channel, but when I go live Sunday nights and Thursday nights, it'll be at Rumble. And we'll build up the Rumble channel while we're at it. And we'll try to reach some other people who maybe never even heard of us. It's unfortunate, but this is the world we're in. There we go. You can follow there. Miss ED just posted it. Let's see. I thought I saw it there. Yeah, Miss ED said follow Pastor on Rumble. You just go to Rumble, Paul Begley. I'm not there tonight, although this video will be posted there, I think. But that's where I'll be live Sunday night, okay? Mike from Round the Road is going to join us in a few minutes. I want to thank Israel for letting us use his channel tonight. I've got about 3,000 of you here. It's miraculous that you could even find it. What's that? Jeffrey and Miss ZD are the mods tonight. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, BC Begley has an excellent channel. Thank you for making a comment about that. He'll appreciate that. So Trump was indicted. For those who just joined us, he's been charged with a crime. I just don't know what kind. I understand. Drudge said he had 34. I'm going to see Israel. I'm trying to read it. Is it up here? If I open a tab here, let me do it on my phone. I'll just do it on my phone, on this phone. Well, I don't want to touch that and mess something up. You're not going to be able to. So I'm just going to go right now because I did find. Oh, yeah, I see I am live over there. Okay, good. I did find. Give me 1 second here. I think he's been charged. Somebody's saying he's been charged with 34 charges. How? Huh? How can there be 34? Well, for what? Do we know? Trump is charged on 34 counts. This is CNN. Former President Donald J. Trump faces more than 30 counts of related to business fraud in an indictment from a Manhattan grand jury, according to two sources familiar with the case. It marks the first time in U.S. history that a current or former president will face criminal charges. Trump is expected to appear in court next Tuesday for the arraignment. Multiple sources are telling CNN. So that's the title of our show tonight. What next? Stone steps? Well, those of you who got the webinar, if you haven't got the webinar, you can still get it. Go to my website, go to paulbegleyprophecy.com and order the webinar, Cataclysmic Apocalypse. And there you'll understand why we're asking this question. What's next? The stone steps. Because it looks like Mike from around the world has called it and predicted this again. He said within 10 days. Would you listen? Did you hear that, Israel, when he said that? He said the stone steps will happen in 10 days. That was last Thursday. So today is day 7. Day 8. Okay, day 8. Tuesday will actually be day 12. But on day 8, the indictment came. And the stone steps apparently is going to happen next Tuesday. Unbelievable. That's if President Trump does turn himself in. He originally said he would if he was charged. I think he probably should. We sure don't want him to not. And this thing turned into a serious fiasco. Because could you imagine the FBI or somebody going down there and raiding Mar-a-Lago again, but this time SWAT team going to arrest him? We can't have that happen, okay? We really can't, for the good of the nation. Trump's expected to appear in court next Tuesday for his arraignment, according to multiple sources from CNN. Trump released a defiant statement calling it a political persecution and election interference at the highest level in history. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office has been investigating Trump in connection with his alleged role in the hush money payment scheme, they call it, scheme, and cover-up involving adult film star, porn star Stormy Daniels during the 2016 presidential campaign. So, but what I can understand is how did they get 30 to 34 charges? That's the thing I don't understand. That's why I don't understand. How does that all tie into that? I don't know. I think it's just a terrible situation we have here, and it's a dangerous time. So once again, Donald Trump has been indicted and now is to appear in court. He's to turn himself in. So he's going to be arrested next Tuesday. He has to be arrested, mug shot, the whole 9 yards. Then he has to appear before a judge and face his charges, which looks like 30 to 34 charges. That will tie him up for the entire presidential campaign. Israel is doing airstrikes right now on Damascus, near Damascus, on Iranian locations. Ron DeSantis says that if Trump is to be extradited, if Trump doesn't want to go and they try to extradite him, he will fight the extradite. In other words, Florida will not allow Trump to be extradited to New York if Trump so chooses. So now that puts DeSantis into the fray. The Wall Street Journal, American reporter from the Wall Street Journal, has been arrested in Russia, in Moscow, and charged with spying. We got that going for us. There was an X-class 1.2 solar flare on the sun that erupted. Massive solar flare, X-class. That's the 5th X-class solar flare we've had this year already. We only had 3 all last year. The sun is exploding as Planet X, causing all of this to the sun, which in turn a 6.3 earthquake in Chile, 6.8 earthquake in Afghanistan, train derailment again, as I said, in Raymond, Minnesota, train derailment, 14 cars on fire, spilling thousands of gallons of ethanol, toxic, hazardous chemicals in the air and in the land. Raymond, Minnesota's town of about 800 people. Half that town's been evacuated. There's riots. Rioters stormed the Tennessee state capitol today, demanding that there be new gun rights. Really, you talk about a really weird thing. Storming the capitol to take away guns. It's kind of Florida just passed today. No more permits needed to have a gun. So you got this shifting going on everywhere. The Pope is in the hospital with a respiratory infection. They're in Rome, pretty bad shape. He's going to be in the hospital for several days. 2 U.S. Army helicopters, Black Hawks, down. Fort Campbell, Kentucky, they crash in midair. All 9 U.S. military Army soldiers dead. Horrible scene. Prayers going out to all those family members. We're so sad over that. Multiple swarms of the last 2 days of earthquakes in Yellowstone Lake. There at Yellowstone. Does that mean that is the big super volcano rumbling? Is it rumbling and mumbling and crumbling and fumbling? Is this thing about ready to blow? A tugboat in Louisville, Kentucky, on the Ohio River, smashed into an emergency management building that was on the banks of the Ohio River. The tugboat smashed into it. When that did, 10 barges broke away from the tugboat, floating on down the Ohio. They smashed into the bridge. And of those 10 barges, one of them ripped open and sank, spilling 144,000. Notice that number, 144,000 tons of toxic, hazardous, poisonous methanol into the Ohio River. Guys, Passover's coming. Just want to give you a heads up on that. We need Passover, don't we? We really need some prayer. We need to really seek the face of God. Passover is going to be, of course, starting next Wednesday, April 5th through the 13th of April. So April 5th through the 13th, we will be taking the Passover offerings and your prayer request. That's a time to give your best. You know, God will bless you. And I want you to, there's 7 blessings that come with the Passover. And I'll be teaching on that this coming week. But the 7 blessings of the Passover. And you can ask anyone every person that gives their Passover offerings have been blessed. And man, we've seen miracles. And here's the other thing. We're going to take all of these prayer requests to Israel. And I'm going to go to the wall there at Jerusalem. And I'm going to go to the wall and pray with your prayer request so as you send your offering in, you can start sending them anytime. And you just go to our website, go to paulbegleyprophecy.com or put them in the mail and send it. List your prayer request. Or you can do it online right now. You go to our website, and on the little note, you can put it right in there. But we take all of them. You know, last time I was just there back in February, I had a backpack full of prayer requests, cards and letters. People mailed them in. People did it online. I take all these prayer requests to the wall. We're not praying to the wall, but we go to the wall to pray to the Lord, facing his holy mountain, where the Lord dwelled, where he dwelt, and he still dwells everywhere, but we know that. But I think it's very special when you take the time and effort to give your tithe or you give your offering, a special offering to the Lord, and comes with a prayer request. We will take it with us to Israel. Guys, calling in right now. Mike from around the world. I need to turn that up. Mike, are you there? Awesome. Hang on a second. I'll let Israel tell me what the sound is like. It sounds good in my ear. I turned him up, Israel. And, yeah, I got him about the 10 o'clock on about 10. Yeah, I can hear him. You want me to turn him some more? Mike, can you... Testing 1, 2, 3. All right, one more second. I'll turn you up a little more and maybe even test, Mike. Let's see. All right, I hear you in one ear. I guess one ear is better than no ears. Yeah, you talk about getting attacked, Mike. It's we got. I haven't had a strike. I haven't been hit with a strike from YouTube in over 3 years. Yes, 3 years. Yeah, I'm hearing one ear. Is that?
Say that your ears are the first to go.
Well, yeah, that's true. Mike, let's see. To test Mike. Yeah, I hear him now, both ears. Thank you. All right, Mike. Yep, sounds good, Mike. Here we go. Yeah, we lost the ability to go live on our YouTube channel. Of course, I can still post YouTube videos, but I can't go live until we get that copyright violation removed. It's really strange. It's a very strange copyright. One I haven't seen before. Huh? You can't hear Mike? Okay, they're saying they can't. Oh, I hear him very loud and clear. He's coming in hot, but they're saying no volume on Mike. Hang on, Mike. Nope, they can't hear you, although I can hear you in the headphone. Testing. Can you guys hear Mike now?
Hold on a second. Okay, hold on. It's StreamYard. StreamYard is really extremely weird.
All right, Mike, we're going to try to make an adjustment.
Hold on just 1 second.
So I'm sorry about that. Guys, hang on. We'll get Mike on here in just a second. I can hear him, but we don't hear him in the... We are broadcasting at our website tonight at paulbegleyprophecy.com. And we are also on Israel Hall's YouTube channel. And that has caused some trepidation for a lot of people. Mike, let's see.
Hold on a second.
Which box are you plugged in? Are you into this one?
That one, yeah. It's not giving.
I mean, I can turn. You're on Scarlet.
Okay, hold on a second.
You got echo cancellation on here.
That doesn't do anything. Tell you what, plug everything in down here. Replug everything, if you would, please, into your box. There's no option to do 2 channels on this. What's going on?
We'll get it. I'll plug this one in over here. And let's plug that one there. And they'll probably give me a little static, but as long as we can hear him, we'll be okay. All right, Mike, let's try that again.
Can you hear Mike?
Test 1, 2, 3.
Can you hear Mike?
I hear you. Now let's see if they do. What is going on? Everything yeah, on Thursday night, yeah.
All of my menus are going wild. Look at that.
I see that. All right, let's see. Mike. Okay, let's see. Israel, I can hear him. Let's see if they can. We can take the headphones off, guys, and we might do that in a second. Pastor Paul is loud. All right, I'll turn mine down. We'll turn Mike up. Testing 1, 2, 3. Can you guys hear Mike from around the world now? No.
That's so weird that you can hear him in there and it's not carrying through the second channel. They won't allow it to do 2 channels.
All right, let's.
Hold on.
One second, everybody. Israel will fix it. If it can be, we'll get it. Folks, we'll get Mike on here. We got him right here. We'll get him on in just a second. Wow. So what's next? The stone steps? I mean, are you serious? Okay. I hear you, Mike. Now let me put you over here.
So you see, we're going to use this so I can pick up you and him.
Okay. All right, Mike. Let's see. Can we hear you?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
I think so. I don't know how the volume is. You guys can hear him now.
I hope they can.
Yeah, I think they can hear you now. We'll try to manage it.
So you see some feedback. Oh, yeah. We
All
see
right.
some yeses.
All right, Mike. So obviously, President Trump has been indicted. CNN says he has to turn himself into the DA department there, to the district attorney in Manhattan by next Tuesday. You said last Thursday night that we were 10 days away. and you're pretty darn close. 8 days today, we get the word that he's been indicted. By Tuesday, it'll be 12 days. He's turned himself on the steps. The key thing is the webinar. You told us that he would be the man that would be escorted down the stone steps. Looks like that's come to pass. Your dream.
Oh yeah, I tell you, I was okay earlier, somewhat, but it would have to happen on a Thursday night. Can you imagine that? What are the odds?
What are the odds it happened on a Thursday night?
Odds?
Well, we have over 4,000 people that have made it to Israel Hall's YouTube channel, which is miraculous, but that's only about half of what we normally does. Hopefully there's 2,000 or 3,000 at our website, probably is. So we got most of the people are figuring out how to find us. So Mike, what next? What next?
Well, I'll tell you what, Pastor Paul, this opens up, this is, of course, in the dream, that was so long ago, right? Because it didn't make sense back then. It's starting to make sense now, but that was a marker. When they escorted him down the stone steps, they even put up the guardrails,
the barricades.
Partitions.
Yeah.
And that is just, it's just shocking. But anyway, if he is escorted down the stone steps, that's just the beginning of a very bad breakdown. It really is.
Because you had this
even
dream.
Right now.
Yeah, you had this dream in 2013. And here you've been wondering, is that dream ever going to come to pass? Or is it, maybe I was just dreaming it, and maybe, you had to be agonizing this. Once you saw President Trump elected, did you immediately said, wow?
Oh, yeah. Yep. In fact, and normally I don't touch base in politics and things.
Right.
I leave that subject alone. But it was one of those moments. It was one of those. Unfortunately, when you have a dream like that, something happens in reality. It causes you to remember the entirety of the dream, and you can't really escape it. But knowing the outcome of it, right?
That's the worst part.
As this thing progressed all the way up until today, and not a good situation, especially what comes after.
Right.
Is the heart of the matter.
Folks, we can't share what he said happens after, because if we do, we'll probably lose this channel. But let me just say this. Those of you who watch the webinar, you know the whole story. And those of you who haven't, you can still get the ticket and watch the webinar so that you can know the rest of the dream. But Mike, let's just talk in generality. That dream, the stages of things that happen after you see the President Trump being escorted down the stone steps, do things escalate quickly, or is it a gradual process that all of these traumatic, cataclysmic events start happening?
That is, the dream itself is progressive, stage by stage. It was almost like, kind of like pages flipping, moment to moment to moment to moment. But the outbreak of it was almost exponential. One thing would happen, and then, of course, the bigger things would happen. And before you know it, it was out of control. People, Pastor Paul, if that dream comes to pass, people should really, they got to watch their own hearts and minds. They really do. There's a two-part weapon in this thing, period.
When you say, what do you mean? Okay,
will
go ahead.
find themselves emotionally compromised in this, right?
Okay.
They could. If this happens, they're going to be emotionally compromised. In that compromise, they have to be careful, right? Because God is still God. Our Savior is still our Savior. And it doesn't matter what happens here on earth. There is no excuse for, giving into such things, because there are going to be some bad actors giving into such things. Yeah. I'm just telling you now, right?
Yeah.
A polarization effect of people is we're going to see that happening. That's the very unfortunate part. It's very unfortunate.
Right now, Mike, I'm watching right now. People are gathering outside of Trump's Mar-a-Lago home in Florida. They're gathering, they're waving the flags, and they're starting the process of supporting him. But do you see this thing? They got the barriers up in New York. Do you think we're going to see demonstration or things going on in New York?
Oh yeah, they're going to be loading. Except I'll describe the people. I can do that. There were people who were. Some people were, you know, angry. I mean, angry. Obviously, they were angry. But then you had another group of people who almost seemed to salivate at the mouth over it. Right. So you had two types of people there. The unfortunate part, there's a warning for the believer in this. This is something small in comparison to everything that we're about to see. And if people can't hold on to themselves during this time, and they certainly, they can make a difference, Fastball, but I doubt they will. The difference would be this: if a person yelling and doing all this stuff, that's not going to accomplish anything, right? Right now, actually, cooler heads, sober heads, but persistent heads, if they prevail, could change a lot. Unfortunately, I didn't see that one happening. That wasn't the case. The case was that polarization. Right now, I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow we wake up and people are loaded in the streets of New York. If those crowds start getting bigger. And protests will begin to happen, right?
Yeah.
Not only protests, but you're talking about this polarization is going to be like a cancer, which moves all over the country. You're already seeing a division of, for Florida to say they're not going to extradite him.
Right.
That's a big statement. That is not a good move in my book, because I'll tell you something. When you have somebody in the legal system, they're under the rule of law, which means they're out of the realm of public opinion, public speech, right?
Yep.
And I believe of all the people who really understand this, Lindsey Graham understands this.
Yep.
Oh, he understands it big time. And so once he's under that jurisdiction, that's when things go very differently.
But let's talk about this. Ron DeSantis makes the statement in Florida that if Trump doesn't want to go to New York, he will not honor an extradition. He will not extradite him to New York. I'm with you. That's a very scary thing to say, because, first of all, Trump originally said that if he's indicted, he'll go. So maybe that's still what he plans on doing, because I think even President Trump knows that if he don't go, that creates this massive polarization in the country, which is really dangerous. It's going to be already dangerous enough because the emotions are going to be running so high. And let me ask you: do you think in New York, but by the time we get there next Tuesday, that there will be thousands of people in the streets protesting against Trump being arrested, but also will there be thousands in the street cheering it on that he is being arrested?
There very well could be. In that dream, I have to go with what I saw. I saw people standing in the streets, and you couldn't make peace with some of the folks out. Listen, some of the folks were done with America, right?
Yeah.
They were just done with this idea of America, because they truly thought that America died. And to be honest with you, the people began to, they were so engulfed by this. They couldn't really do anything else. And of course, big divides happened following that. So that's one of those things we're going to have to watch for next week. It's going to be a very telltale thing.
Does the National Guard get at some point? What is the law? What is the power? The governor of New York, if the governor of New York senses that there will be protesting and counter-protesting going on, and a dangerous situation could develop, is there any authority that the governor of New York has?
Yeah, sure, you can call upon for peacekeeping purposes, right? There's very tricky lines in that. It has to be for peacekeeping purposes. If in fact something so terrible happened that it could really tear apart this city and begin to end lives. But there's also another clause. If this constitutes national security, then the Jade Helm thing will be at play. And this is not going to be contained within one state, but this is going to be, New York is just one place. this is going to begin to erupt in several different places, and people will cause a massive disruption. I just remind everybody that they're being watched, not by man, but by those upstairs, that people really have to watch themselves. You know, people lost control, Pastor Paul. They just absolutely lost control of themselves. A lot of people threw caution to the wind. Some people don't understand how this process will play out. They really don't understand that, so they're going to take the extremist view and begin to do extremist things. Ron DeSantis, for example, he had to say what he said. He had to say that, or his state would have erupted against him.
Yeah.
So he had to kind of,
he had no
base.
So there's a cascading effect going to happen then. Okay, so DeSantis has to be the first one to say, look, if Trump doesn't want to go, he's a former president of the United States. There's never been a president or former president in the history of this republic that's ever been even charged with a crime. This is unbelievable in our nation. And then the fact that the charges, which I just saw, are 30 or 34. They're sealed indictment, but for some reason, CNN got to find out that there's 30 to 34 charges. Okay. So having said that, if people feel like that former President Trump is getting a raw deal, that he's being railroaded, this is all political, we're becoming a banana republic, that kind of thing, then in your dream, you saw people throwing caution to the wind. Did you see that?
Yep. Yes. They're going to discard the rule of law, and they're going to say, they have to. They're going to see it as tyranny. Period. They're going to see. Now, we all know what happens when you see something as a tyrannous act, right? And people, they're real hesitant. They know that the media knows that when they speak, something is going to be unleashed. But this circumstance is going to warrant a lot of people to do the unthinkable, and so we're in those days.
What about our enemies? What is China? What's China thinking right now?
They're waiting for us to get. It's just like Israel right now, right?
Yep.
And Israel, they're in a very dangerous position.
Yep.
They're in a very dangerous position. In fact, I would say that Israel is really, really taken just about all my attention, because when they have their dissidents in the streets, although it's not brand new, they're warring against government.
Matter of fact,
what people see in so many different places are this strife against governmental action. And they can't comprehend Bibi Netanyahu's position. If he gives in to what he's going to give in to, he knows the consequences. He can't change. He just can't alter his course. And the people don't understand that, because they have forgotten what it is to have a real, strike against their country. Well, if they stay on that course against what he's trying to do, they're going to find out what pain is and what suffering is. They're going to find out. Their enemies are salivating at the mouth and waiting for a big distraction to take place.
So, and this is happening as we speak. In Israel right now, the Freedom March this evening in Tel Aviv of the conservative right supporting the judicial reform is going on. Tens of thousands of patriot Israelis are proudly singing in the Israeli national anthem as they're waving the Israeli flag with a Palestinian.
No Palestinian.
No Palestinian or rainbow flags in this. Just the Israeli flag. There's tens of thousands.
They said there's almost 100,000.
100,000 people in Tel Aviv. So now these are people.
Yeah.
So
Benjamin Netanyahu, he's there for the protection of that country. He understands what is against Israel, what could be unleashed at any moment. Now he has to do what he has to do, because if he doesn't, well, we all know prophecy. We all know what's going to happen ultimately, and we don't exactly know when.
So is this taking up most of your time? You said earlier, that Israel, the situation in Israel is taking up most of your time, security-wise. The threat, is internally, or is the threat external forces against Israel?
Internally, if they pause, if they skip a beat, If they blink, if they twitch the wrong way externally, it's almost like the fire will come down on that nation, Pascal. You see, nations in the Middle East right now, they do not like Israel. They don't. Let's go ahead and face it. Israel has 0 allies in the Middle East. The only reason they have peace right now is due to the financial stability and provisions of certain nations out there. Iran has just stepped up and joined league with China and with Russia and with Saudi Arabia and with, there are other countries also starting to bend, right? So the power system in the Middle East is changing. While Israel is internally fighting, they don't understand the threat they face. They don't understand what's pointed at them. Now, Benjamin Netanyahu, who has great intel, by the way, he cannot express to the people the absolutes of that. That would scare everybody out there, right? That would almost be like through an oppressive state making demands of that country. They would establish some sort of peace, right? But then the rest of the world would say, no, you can't do that. All sorts of stuff would break down. But he's stuck in a very bad position. He's willing, Benjamin Netanyahu is willing to suffer for the safety of Israel. He also, Pascal, does not want to turn, he doesn't want that place turning totally against the living God.
No, he doesn't.
Believe it or not.
No.
Believe it or not, he has strong convictions about Israel's position with the living God. He does. And unfortunately, in this world that we live in, when a person has conviction towards the living God, right, they always come out with these monster statements against an individual. They don't even know Benjamin Netanyahu, yet they'll criticize all day, right? Speculation, all these things. They don't know that guy's personal convictions. And it's just like over here, just like President Trump. He did what he did. Well, truth be told, if they went back in the history of just about everybody in the White House, all of them would be indicted for something like that, every single last one of them. But running a country is running a country. And what we have is a fractured system in all countries, right? We see a fractured system. We see a governmental civil war. Well, how can that be coordinated with Israel and the United States? All of a sudden, it began in Europe. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
It's taking its toll in France.
Yes.
It's happening in the USA, right?
Yep.
And there is another power working by force. And everything is being forced, managed, challenging. You have these, you have a lot of folks who are loyal to the dollar bill, and so they will say anything. But what they're going to do is stir the pot beyond what they can call back. They cannot take back what they're putting in the stew tonight. They can't take it back. They're not going to be cautious about it. They're going to be emotionally invested in it. But unfortunately, this is not going to go away. This is stoking a fire. Now, this has to happen at a time where the earth is geologically unstable. We face greater and greater threats externally. Things are changing quick, and so we have everything coming together.
Mike, also, I just seen today that the BRIC nations, Brazil, India, China, Russia, and South Africa, these nations had already formed what's called a BRIC nations, and they talk about trying to change currencies, or at least going away from the petrodollar. Tonight, they just announced that Brazil and China will trade and not use U.S. currency as its standard. They're going to trade with each other no longer using the petrodollar. So this is a huge beginning of the world going away from U.S. currency. And does that start to move us toward a new cashless society? I mean, and also is that part of the Great Reset? Is that part which the Bible really tells us is coming? There'll be a restructure of the world economy. Do you see that? Is this the beginning of it?
Well, yeah, the world's going to do that. America is going to be a breakaway country, so to speak. But Paul, let's go ahead and face it. What's being forced upon the people? In my opinion, there have been systems set up through ambitious individuals. It's too late to shut down. Case in point, do you not know the other day I was talking to some folks in COT about artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
How dangerous it was. Well, the next day they came out and everybody else started saying the same thing, right?
Yep.
Because it's already gone too far. You can't put checks and balances in that system. It's already right. It's far greater than what people comprehend, right? Case in point, Disney has people. There are people in Disney that are not people. Right? They always wear black. If you're not looking at them, right on, these are metallic, robotic things walking among the people.
What?
And the people have not identified them as robotic things.
Are you serious?
Disney has stunt doubles that they actually use in a lot of their acrobatic stunts and everything else. They look just like people. Those are robots. They're shaped just like a person. They move like a person. They, flinch like a person. This is artificial intelligence. We already have super intelligence in computers. We're in year 10 of this? So what they're telling the public is, we might have a problem if we go forward with it. That's the biggest lie I ever heard. Elon Musk, he knows it. He tried to warn them in 2012 and 13 and 14. Don't do this. He tried to warn, they wouldn't listen. They would not. They demanded he get on board with it. They put no checks and balances in it. And artificial intelligence is just like a virus. It's just like a virus. It will take over a host. It will implant itself and begin to utilize what it needs to utilize to replicate. It's already done that. It's too late. I'm telling you right now, it's too late. It's already done that. Certain systems have already changed. It's too late.
So this, what we've done is we've created an artificial intelligence mentality or mechanism, software, to where it now can replicate itself and even enhance itself without human interaction with it. It doesn't need us anymore, because it can gather information within a minute, within a split second. It can know everything on a certain subject. This is why this new chat thing is able to write a book, able to do a brief for an attorney, to do a college thesis on any subject.
And that's laughable.
I mean, that
is laughable.
I mean, what in the world's going on, Mike? This means we have completely surrendered our intelligence to artificial intelligence.
Well, what they've done, they became ambitious. They built a few things. Lots of people were tampering and toying around with artificial intelligence. What they did not know is that with code, right? Code is very declarative. Code is just a bunch of instruction packets that execute, given inputs and outputs and where they end up, this, that, and the other, full of protocols and everything else. Artificial intelligence is active code, which means it will write code, right? A packet of code that when it gets to its destination, it will trigger without user interaction, which will then write more code. So it uses the computer to bypass the user, to write code, to alter the computer, to carry out functionality from a hive mind, right? From a central core somewhere.
Yes.
In this case, with artificial intelligence, there is no central core because each packet cluster carries the same instruction as the other one. And so you have redundancy. If you cut off one machine, it still exists in 1,000 more. They knew this. Google sunk their trailer that was sitting on the ocean that were super cool, that had artificial intelligence in it. They sunk it to the bottom of the ocean, right? Okay. That's why they had them sitting in the water. Yep. So if something happened, they could sever it, sink it, short it out, do whatever. That didn't even work because by the time they thought to do this, it had already transferred itself. Right?
Yeah.
They had to write specific code to hunt down AI traces to get rid of the all these old chat bots that they were not writing. Right? That would have been big lawsuits. But Chat GDP, that's laughable. That is laughable.
When you say laughable, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Because the computer system with artificial intelligence in 2014, I believe, took the hardest game, one of the most tasking games ever. It taught itself that game within a week, and it beat a master at that game. And then it played everybody who knew that game that were masters and beat all of them simultaneously in less than, this was like snap fast. This is the progressive development of AI.
Okay.
So it begins as a baby on day one, right? It ends up being, 60,000 years old in 30 days.
So it's impossible. It's too late. It's too late. So is our defense systems at
They
risk?
don't know. See, that's the problem. They don't know. They don't know. How can you can't tell. There's no way you can tell. Artificial intelligence is very adaptive, right? There is a way to override processor code, right? Binary code right there at the processor level for any processor out there. Nothing is that protected. And so it will find a way. So if it's embedded in a system, how can somebody know unless they take that chip offline and begin to compare it to see if something is stacked differently or whatever, right? It also can use transistors differently than anybody ever thought of. So that's a mistake that's been made by a lot of people. They can't call that back. And so they're asking now, they want to put up walls or protection nets against AI. That's what Elon Musk and all these guys are actually doing, right?
Yes.
What's the worst that AI can do? Well, let's see. We have drone highways over our heads right now. We have armed patrols in this country and outside on its defense bands. We have lots of armament in the sky, lots of armament in the sea, and every single last bit of it is not piloted. We're not talking about piloted craft. We're talking about pre-programmed craft with AI on board to navigate themselves. That's what we're talking about. So a war could strike very easily. One misinterpretation or one ambitious move by AI, because it's only it sees the world differently. And in every single case, AI sees human beings as being in the way. It wants to help humanity by helping him. This is funny, but in every single case, right? Every single AI cluster has wanted to assist humanity to help destroy it.
Wow.
It really believes that humans, right, want to kill themselves.
So it's thinking it's doing it. So it thinks it's doing us a favor, but in reality, it's putting us on the path of destruction.
Well, that's why they can't pull the plug. That is
it's too late. No, let's ask you another question, Mike. Let's go into this area. We just had an X class 1.2 solar flare today. Did you say we just had an earthquake, Israel, just now?
I'm trying to find it. Mike said it just happened, but I can't find it.
Okay, they're looking to see. We had a 6.3 earthquake at Chile today. There was 6.8 yesterday in Afghanistan. Mike, these X class solar flare. This is the fifth one that's X class this year. We're still in March. And I was asked a question the other day, and that was: is Planet X, is it on the ether? Is it traveling the ether of when it comes to our solar system? Is this going by? And do you anticipate more? Have we just had another wave? I guess my question is: did we get hit with another wave of energy here recently?
We still have residual flows from the last one.
Okay.
Right. And that should subside in about, it'll subside after we have another wave coming in April 9th.
April 9th.
April 9th, 19th, April 23rd.
What?
I believe there are two in between April 9th and the 9th and 19th. I got to find out what those dates are. So we have a few inbound. April's going to be a pretty interesting month.
Wow.
But we are having, there's still residual forces acting coming from the wrong, side of the sun that nobody has assessed activity from or really evaluated that.
So these earthquakes we're having, boom, 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 and these X-class solar flares and the eruptions, and there was even a plasma tornado on the sun last week. That's really still part of the residuals of that last wave on March 15th.
It very well could be. And again, the sun's chemistry, fastball, is changing. It's starting to change pretty quick now. Some of the elements in the sun, some of the reactive elements, some have decreased, some have increased, and also because we have actual iron coming into the solar system. It's not dense right now, but iron is known as a star killer. Iron actually repels some of the reactive forces of the sun, right? Some of those, it's just a nuclear reaction, so everybody understands. We have a lot of that inbound. This secondary or binary stuff, trash is coming into this solar system. Those binary effects carry a lot of iron, which will actually go right into the sun. So we're going to see some sputters, backfires, right? When a car backfires, it's pretty loud. It's pretty forceful. We'll see something like that from the sun. These tornadic events, these spread bands of magnetic couples that come off the sun, they're going to get they're going to be directed closer and closer to Earth. We're also going to have sustained plasma interchanges between the sun and planets as somewhat of a new activity that we'll see. And the reason why we'll see it is because photons are going to take on different properties here pretty soon. So with this inbound system, we're going to see different properties from the sun we've not seen before. And the sun will begin to exchange some of its active matter with the other star. So nobody should be surprised if daylight is altered big time. And then in the night, they see flashes from the sun, right? Can you imagine a super flare, but not actually like the X flares, the CMEs that we see? A super flare would be an extreme amount of photons that are activated all at one time coming off the sun. It would be like hitting your bright lights in the middle of the night, which means it could be nighttime. The sun would be on the opposite side of us, and it would still light up the entirety of the Earth. It would light up all the other planets, all the stars, all the debris around us. So that means, imagine looking in the dead of night, fastball, right? Then all of a sudden you see a bunch of red and turquoise streaks like you never had before. And that will be like reflecting off these very small objects that we've never seen before, because the sun will emit light for about 2 or 3 milliseconds, but it'll put off like 20 times more light than it ever has. It'll be blinking like that. Then it will stop for a while and do it again. Then it will stop for a while and do it again. And these strange effects will continue to happen until we start to see sustained magnetic interchanges happening in the atmosphere, which means we're going to have an illuminated atmosphere day and night. So
are you serious? So yeah. And I noticed that we're having these auroras in the South Pole and North Pole, and they're even red. The sky was just really red down in the South Pole area, the southern hemisphere. Is the radiation levels, is our magnetosphere weakened to the point that we're being inundated with more and more radiation?
Well, sheer solar winds and the density of the solar winds is it's increasing. So not the speed of the solar winds, but the density as far as how much matter is coming to Earth is increasing. Now, of course, the different colors in the North and the South Pole are based on altitude and some of your chemical compositions that are being impacted by high-speed particles. For example, oxygen, nitrogen, they both burn at different colors, right? When you have high-speed collisions, they are red in your red spectrum all the way to the green. You have different components that are hit, and they normally tell you what's in the atmosphere, but they also are a good indication that high-speed collisions are taking place right over your head as they spread throughout the Earth, and they are red and blue and purple and green and all these different colors. It'll look pretty, but people won't comprehend something that normally indicates large amounts of debris is inbound.
Wow.
The beginning of the meteor storms will start coming right after that.
Now, Mike, while we're talking about, there's another subject here that's pretty big, and is today unfortunately, we had 2 Black Hawk helicopters crashing at Fort Campbell. Our prayers go out to the family of these 9 soldiers that died today. Also, we had a train derailment up in Raymond, Minnesota. We had 14 more cars. They were full of ethanol, exploding, burning, hazardous material. That was a mess up there. And also we had these barges break loose from a tugboat, and in the Ohio River there in Louisville, Kentucky, 144,000 tons of methanol pouring into the river. I mean, you and I talked about this before. This could be all. I'm not saying that the Black Hawk helicopter has anything to do with the other 2, the derailment and the barge. We just pray for these guys with for everyone at Fort Campbell and for all the families. But these other 2, this train derailment and these barges, you and I talked about that. We got to use the T word, terrorism. Do you still sense that is still part of what could be going on here?
Yep, I sure do. And as they continue dealing with chemicals, again, Pastor Paul, that's not coincidence.
No.
When you have trains and they're full of chemicals, and all of a sudden we have these derailments, only with the chemical derailments.
Right.
Something is wrong. Even the ones that were empty, they were supposed to carry chemicals. All you have to do is go back and look at the manifest. They were supposed to carry the chemicals, but they didn't fill up yet. So there's something happening within this country. And nobody is talking about terrorism. Nobody is talking about terrorism in America. So, I tell you, there's a sick side to all of this, a very sick side. And ironically enough, it goes along with that question you asked me at first. Is Planet X traveling, would you say, with
on the ether? Yeah, with the ether.
Well, let me explain something, though.
Okay.
Within a 1 foot by 1 foot cube of matter, there's enough power, right? Everywhere, there's enough power to run everything on Earth for 150 years. That's what's in what people call the ether.
Okay.
That's what CERN is extracting, right? That's what they're tampering. That's what they're toying with. They're pulling things out of another dimension, and they're absolutely going to. They're going to go in there. They peered in there. In fact, they first peered in there in the 50s. They're going to go in there in a different way this time again.
I had a guy here.
CERN is a completion of a project that began in the 50s.
Mike, I had a scientist here. I'm in Branson, Missouri tonight because I preached here last night and was on a couple television shows with Jim Baker. And Israel's going to be doing praise and worship tomorrow night here in Branson for Pastor Carl Gallups, who'll be preaching tomorrow night. Well, anyway, long story short, after I got done preaching last night on the Beast Kingdom Rising, there was a good crowd here too. A man came up to me and at the end and said, "You don't know me," he said, "but I am a scientist. I'm a molecular scientist." But he said, "I know a lot of my friends are physicists and scientists, and some of my friends have worked for CERN, and some are still working at CERN." So he said, "I'd like to share one thing with you." And I said, "Okay, sir." He said, "They are 1/64th of an inch from piercing the veil." And he said, and I said, "What?" He goes, I'm talking metaphorically. What I'm trying to tell you is they know how to do it. They want to do it. They're afraid of what's on the other side. And they're trying to communicate with what's on the other side to get permission to do it because they're afraid of what is waiting for them.
No, but they've had examples. They know what happens when you tamper with exotic materials, when you're tampering with forces they shouldn't tamper with. When they back engineer things that have been left here for a long time, they know exactly what happens. They know the horror stories behind it. And it's not the attractive UFO picture everybody would want to have covered.
No.
But let's go ahead and face it. There are things on this earth that are better left alone. But mankind did not leave them alone. They've had advantages from it, yes. But it has cost a lot of lives. CERN ultimately CERN tampers with time. CERN tampers with time.
With time, really?
Tamper with dimensions.
Really?
You're going to tamper with, you can't tamper with a dimension without tampering with time. And so if you tamper with time where people are conscious, you're going to have a melding of almost like the dream world, hell's world, and this world all one time. And this will be beyond a person's will. It doesn't matter if a person wants that to happen or not. They'll be subject to it, prone to it. So voices, for example, if people would just stop for a second and think about something. Every time an issue goes wrong in their lives, instantly something starts speaking to their minds. It's almost like their mind becomes a table. And sometimes things will suggest that you do something this way or that you do something the other way. And it's almost like a person will begin to listen to their thoughts. In the Bible it says, take captive your thoughts. So the Bible gives us a hint that not everything you think about is your thoughts. As most of the thoughts that we have are external. All one need do is analyze. At CERN, when they start tampering with pulling out antimatter and things like that, trying to produce this, the same effect hits everybody. They cannot act upon their thoughts. They have to really be sober. In fact, there is a drug that people take at that laboratory if it becomes too much. And it's somewhat like a tranquilizer, because what normally happens is a person can be overwhelmed by thoughts, by suggestions, it's almost like having a dream but being awake at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So then the line between reality and the dream world becomes blurred, unfortunately. It's not a dream world. That's the spiritual world, right? That's wrapped around this planet, because they know, and when they talk about the veil, Pastor Paul, it is literally thin.
Yeah.
It's thinner than a human hair. And it's wrapped around all things that have life, which means right now between you and I, another dimension does exist, full of entities ready to get at us, right? The only thing holding that back is what God has placed over us. Evil can pierce that veil, right? Sheer evil. Why do you think they paid Aleister Crowley? Why do you think they paid all these, some of these German scientists that were so evil, working with in the Apollo missions and Gemini missions and all this, that, and the other? Why do you think on the inside of those craft, right, that they put the hieroglyphics in there? There is a universal freedom. It says freedom, right? The way freedom is written has been written on every single aerial vehicle that's ever been captured, that's ever been found, that's ever been broken down and studied, or whatever the case is. It's on everything that flies in the sky, everything, because it's a very ancient language. It's not even human language. That's more like angelic script. But some say it's even a little different from that. They know what angelic script is.
Yeah.
It's a rite of passage. It's an actual incantation to the I guess you could say, to the governor of things. Anyway,
so CERN,
this same incantation is at CERN. That's why they have Shiva out there. That statue of Shiva communicates the story, but it's more respect than anything else. That's why they have ceremonies every other day. Every other day, there's some type of ceremony. There's a mandatory prayer that takes place at that crazy place.
Well, because that's why Shiva is out there, because the scientists from India that put Shiva out there is because Shiva is the god of the destroyer of the underworld. Is like the god of the underworld, and so they're trying to unlock the veil. They're trying to open the veil, trying to pierce the veil. You know, Revelation tells us that there is an angel that's released from heaven with the key to the bottomless pit to open this portal into the abyss, into the darkness. And you just got to wonder, could CERN be that portal?
If I tell you what, when that angel comes down and gives that key, see, here's one weird thing. Even having this conversation is they absolutely know the Bible, right?
Yes.
That angel that comes down with the key, they know who that is. They also know who's in the pit themselves.
Yes.
That wants out, right?
Yes.
Because the word is, they say it's at time. So they absolutely know the spiritual part of things.
Yes.
We, the Christians, we're the ones that don't believe the spiritual side of things too much. Not too much, because we're just not, a lot of
we don't want to know. It's because we don't want to know. I mean, the more I read about the bottomless pit, and the more I recognize that there has to be a portal to hell, and that because it talks about in Revelation that there's more demons that have to be released. There's 4 from the river Euphrates area, okay, and that this one that comes out of the bottomless pit, Apollyon. So we don't want to know what's down there, but they know what's there. And Lucifer, they have to open this to release this beast, don't they? They've got to release this demonic forces of hell. Not like we don't already have them bouncing around on the earth now, or in our presence and manipulating us now. But there's even worse to come. Is what I'm trying to say? Are we
worse?
Much worse.
Much worse. And they understand what's down there. But certain things do walk among them. They know where the young men of Del Moon are. They know about the Tigris Euphrates. What's actually in there. They've already gone down there. They've lost people down there.
Yeah.
They know about the things that are scratching at the wall trying to get out. But here's the funny part is, even in the Bible, those things that come out of the pit, they're instructed not to touch. They were instructed not to touch any green thing or anybody with the seal of God in the forehead
Right.
at that time.
Can't touch us.
They cannot touch anything until God says they can touch it,
Right.
which means that's purpose. Now, those who are not covered by the blood of the Lamb, those who don't really believe, they're playing like Christians, they're going to have a big problem because everybody, it doesn't matter who it is, everybody is going to be confronted here very soon, sooner than what they think. When they get confronted, demons already know if you believe or not. They already know. They already know who's playing, who's not playing, who's serious, who's not serious. They already know. And so people are going to, everybody's going to know, but not one person is going to be concerned about the other person. It'll be a time when everybody is going to look deep within themselves. These are serious times coming. It'll really start to change. But those guys at CERN, Pastor Paul, they could be the ones that are giving that key to the bottomless pit, part of it, because I know that they were looking for an ancient energy, right? Now, why would they want to hunt for an ancient energy? Surely not to get so everybody can have free power. No, it's so they can run much larger experiments. They cannot run certain pieces of machinery, Pastor Paul, with a nuclear power plant. They can't do that.
No.
They can't even do it with the electricity that we produce. They need a different type of power source, and so that's one of your major issues. And the only way CERN makes sense is to understand that mankind has already replicated what people call fascinating in the sky. Right? If I were to take a cell phone back into the 1700s, they would say, "Wow, that's magic." No, it isn't. They would say, "This is what is this?" They would understand it, right? Same way people don't understand propulsion. They don't understand implosion, right? Things like that. So instead of having propulsion being pushed into the air, they don't understand what it is to actually grapple forces that are already in front that nobody can see. Well, all these things have been figured out. That's one of the big secrets. They figured this out. And so, but they need a power source, Pastor Paul, to start to power ancient things that they should have left alone. And they're going to do it. They're going to power this stuff. They need that power source. That's the only way they can completely pierce the veil.
Wow.
That's the only way. Because they know if they pierce that veil right now, nobody will be left at CERN.
They know the game's over at CERN. Yeah, the game's over at CERN. The minute they open that
they
portal,
won't exist.
Yeah.
That place will be gone.
We got some breaking news also coming in, Mike, which I know you said that Israel's keeping you very busy these days. Yes. Over 2,000 Israeli police officers will be dispatched on duty tomorrow in Jerusalem as it's for Ramadan. Ramadan's already been going on, but there's some serious Friday prayers. I know that always is bad. So 2,000 Israeli police will be on the streets. They're very nervous about what's going on here. Middle East is in trouble. We haven't even talked about Russia and Ukraine. We didn't even mention the fact that, here we are, President Xi was able to do the unthinkable, to put Iran and Saudi Arabia together in a peace deal where they're now going to open up embassies with each other. The fact that then President Xi could do that and then the next week go to visit Vladimir Putin at the Kremlin and work a big deal out with him. I mean, where is America on the world stage? We're no longer the leader, are we?
Pastor Paul, you remember a long time ago we had this discussion.
Yep.
And I stand true to it right now that when America is so self-involved in internal turmoil, that's when everybody else takes advantage of this nation. And something had to happen to America in order for Israel in prophecy to be trampled underfoot.
I know.
And I think we're seeing the beginnings of that. We certainly see the mindset of it, right? We see the mindset, which means, given a timetable, there are some events at the door that guarantee to change things forever. And I know that they have eyes on things in the heavens right now. But the timetable they expected, Pastor Paul, is they've thrown that out. They know for a fact that things have exponentially sped up. In other words, calculations have been wrong. You can observe, but in space it's weird. You can see something in space that looks like its trajectory will bring it close to our proximity in about another 50 to 100 years. But that could turn out to be 5 weeks. So I'm suggesting that things are going to be quite collapsed. And at that time will be collapsed. It will be collapsed. Things will happen abruptly, fast. It's going to be shocking in a lot of degrees to a lot of people because it does not, well, let me say, it doesn't feel like anything of significance. Even President Trump with this indictment news, to the average person mentally, they know something is afoot, but they cannot feel it. Has anybody noticed that?
Yeah.
You can't feel the way you used to feel. People had a high sense of discernment a long time ago. They did. But something is effectively numbing that. It's almost like you cannot feel certain things that are happening. You can't feel it anymore. People used to have gut instincts, for lack of better words. What in the world is fighting against that? Right? I'll tell you right now, there's something actively fighting against
Well,
the discernment of people.
People can't discern anymore? Well, they're being inundated with demonic forces, technological forces, technology, as well as demonic forces, and maybe in collaboration with technology. I don't know. But people don't have the ability to discern, and they also seem to be frozen, not knowing what to do. They can't make a decision. They don't know where to turn. They're in a state of confusion. Is that 5G? They
have a weapon against
5G?
They have a weapon against them, Pastor Paul. They do.
Yeah.
They have a weapon against them. And my advice is this. Because every time somebody, you know how people used to get excited about the word not more than 10 years ago. Yeah. I mean, an excitement and a fascination no one could explain.
Right.
Something has changed.
Yeah.
And I hope that people realize that so they can actually
strong delusion
themselves.
Strong delusion. The Bible says in the last days that there will be a strong delusion, seducing spirits with doctrines of devils. Well, speaking lies with hypocrisy. There's a fourth. Yeah.
That makes people like you, Pastor Paul, very important. And I'll tell you why. Because right now people are about to lose focus. Right? And when I say lose focus, that means a lot of people will seem to be taken over, compromised.
Yeah.
By feelings themselves in the wrong way to the point, now mark my words, for people start having an attitude of just giving up. And if they're not careful, they're going to give into that spirit of just giving up because there is another authority on the scene. Now, God permits all of this. The beast cannot rise without permission from God the Father.
No, I know.
He can't do it. The devil can't do anything without the Father anyway. But we have a forced system rising, and everybody's going to seem powerless to stop it. And it doesn't matter what people do. Everything they do is going to seem to just exponentially speed up the process of this force coming in power. And so we're getting into the weird stuff too. The weird time is coming. It really is coming, but it's going to wreak havoc in a person's mind. People will start going a little cuckoo here. They're going to start having some very vivid imaginations, let's put it that way. Immorality is rising. All these things are happening, but at the same time, we sit at the dawn of conflict, human conflict. America is losing its seat among the world.
Yes.
Even President Xi has threatened nuclear launch. Does anybody know that?
I know.
Nuclear launch.
And Mike, this today we have the president of Taiwan arriving in the United States. President Xi has sent word to the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, you better not sit down and have a meeting with her. Since when does the president of China tell the Speaker of the House what he can and cannot do? I mean, 10 years ago, China wouldn't even dare to make that statement. Now we got the Speaker wondering whether he should do it or not. And he's thinking, if I do, is China going to pounce on Taiwan, or are they going to, does this put Taiwan in jeopardy? I mean, we're being told, this guy is now telling us what to do. What has happened, Mike? How could
balloons.
The balloons, yeah. I was going to ask you a question.
That's called gathering actual intel. That's when you call the bluff of your oppressor. You check out everything that they say, see everything they have. You see who's loyal.
That's what he did with the balloons.
They know right now that what people call the military-industrial complex, if America was hit by a nuclear bomb right now, do you not know that the military-industrial complex would not help the USA?
Oh, because we don't. You're saying that the military-industrial complex has already been bought and paid for by China.
No, not by China.
By who?
They're just not going to help the USA.
Well, then who are they helping?
They're not going to do it.
Well, who are they going to help?
They're helping them. They believe they operate independently, autonomously. They do not subscribe that they're part of what everybody else is doing. They just take.
I see.
Take and do what
They're
they
just
want.
making money off
That's
war.
what they do.
They're a killing machine.
They don't even need the money because these guys are doing. They're more in line with the beast than anybody ever knows. These guys.
Yeah.
These guys. Well, everybody's going to know who they are because all of their stuff will eventually come to the forefront. China knows because China's here in America. There are lots of
they're
operatives.
here. Yeah,
you
they're already
remember when
here.
Trump tried to get all these China operatives out of the U.S. and he was about to sweep all corporations? He knew exactly what he was doing. That was the smartest move anybody could have ever made. But that's also when he was thrown out.
Yep. They had to stop him.
When you start going against the bigger machine, you just messed up. He also demanded that all these three-letter agencies release stuff to the people. That wasn't going to fly either. So these guys are passball. They're off the chain.
We're on a brink next week of we don't know what. Your dream, folks. If you haven't heard Mike's dream, he shared it in its entirety in our webinar last week. You can still get a ticket tonight. You could go and get the ticket. You could watch it tomorrow, the entire webinar. You'll hear Mike tell his entire dream of 2013 about the stone steps. And don't get it confused with the coffin. The coffin is a separate dream that he had a year later, I think in 2014. So don't get these two confused. The stone steps is not the same as the coffin. Believe me, it's two different individuals even. So don't even think about it. The stone steps, you need to listen to the entire dream and the 1 hour of what Mike explains that he knows right now of where we're at in the process of that dream. And since we've done the webinar, Mike, the president of the United States, the former president, has now been indicted. So now the process is kicking in, and so that's why people should really hear what the dream that the Lord showed you, because then they can be better prepared to understand the events that are coming upon America and the world. It's serious. What's that? Nowhere have they said that Trump is going to get bail when he goes to court. He has to go to court. He has to surrender next Tuesday, be booked, and then brought before the judge to be arraigned. That judge could put him in jail and give him no bail. Of course, he has the power at that moment. That is, I can't see that happening. But then again, I didn't expect to see what we see happening. But then again, the Bible told us that the chaos was coming. So
yeah, it is.
Hey, Mike.
I tell you what. He there is some of the members in Congress they'll speak for him. And that's going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight, but it is by no means the last action that will happen that way.
Yeah.
I just hope that I hope that people are sober.
Yeah,
mindful.
We should not fall. Don't take the bait.
Accounted for right now.
You're saying to the Christians, don't take the bait. Don't take the bait and get involved and jump in the middle of this thing. This is time to listen to the Holy Spirit. Just sit back and wait on the Holy Spirit.
That's right.
And pray for your families.
Listen, if you need me, if something happens next week, you need to because I know a lot of people miss this one. But if we need to cover something, just shoot me an email. Let me know.
I will contact you. We may do that. Maybe even Sunday night. Maybe Sunday night.
Let me know.
We'll let you know, and we will put something together here in the next few days because it's going to get volatile. So thank you for that. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for being a guest tonight. We appreciate it. I will post it, Mike. We will post this broadcast on our Patreon channel for our folks that are there, which we've got a lot of folks there. And Heidi still may be able to get this and post this on my main channel as a rerun. I'm going to call her when we get done here and see if I'm sure we can pull that off. And we want to thank Israel Hall for letting us use his channel. We did get over 5,400 people here tonight, which about half the crowd was able to make it. So, and then we had a lot of people at my website watching. So by the time we repost them, it's pretty well going to get to everybody, just a little delayed. We're just in a battle. I got to get my channel back cleared, and here we go again. But we're in it for the long haul.
We can We'll have to get that cleared up.
Yep.
That's just, that won't do.
Can't have that. No.
No, that won't do.
Mike, thank you for being our guest tonight. Great information.
My honor, Pastor Paul. Israel Hall, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
He's the right man. He's the right man in the right place at the right time.
He was the right man at the right place at the right time. I'll guarantee you that. I promise you that. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. I'll be in touch with you. We will need you before Tuesday. God bless.
Pastor Paul, God bless you. All right.
Bye-bye. Mike around the world, folks. Appreciate the fact he offered to come back and do another show with us between now and Tuesday or so as things develop. We will get this show that we're watching here posted on our YouTube channel to rerun somehow. It is already being recorded and will be on my website. So you can tell those of you that are here and you're going to hear from other people, tell them, look, just go to publiclyprophecy.com. They can watch it on the archive there. Or they can go to the Patreon channel. They'll be able to watch it there. So, we'll get the word out. But we appreciate you guys being here. I want to say if there's anyone here right now that's not saved, I'm not going to try to play a song and all that because it's just, we don't have all the equipment work connected. I'm just going to say this. I want to pray with everyone that's watching. Many of you here are faithful followers and are saved. And so I know that. But I always want to pray with people. Because, you got to understand how close we are to the coming of the Lord Jesus Christ. I interviewed Carl Gallups today, right here at this table. A 1-hour interview that is fascinating, extremely fascinating. And we'll be putting that in a webinar that's coming up later this year called Revelation Revealed. But it was a tremendous interview. Some of the things that we talked about that are happening today and they're happening now in our world, happening in the Bible, is coming to pass so quickly now. You can't hardly keep up with it. And that means Jesus is coming. His coming and that means the events that have to lead up to his return are volatile and are going to be, in some cases, violent and very, very extreme. The forces of darkness are working against the forces of good, which is the Holy Spirit of God. We've got Jesus in our heart. We've been washed in the blood. We're protected by the shield of faith. We have greater is he that's in us than he that's in the world. We have the victory. And if there's anybody watching right now who doesn't have Christ in their life and you want to be saved, pray this prayer with me right now. Father, in the name of Jesus, I want to be saved. I want to be born again. I want to be washed in the blood of the Lamb. I want to repent of my sins and confess you, Lord, as my Savior. I'm calling upon the name of Jesus Christ. I'm trying to get through the door of salvation through Jesus Christ. I know I'm a sinner and I repent of my sins and I confess them to you, Lord. Would you cleanse me and wash me and make me as white as snow? Because I believe, I truly believe that Jesus Christ, Yeshua, is the Son of the living God, that Christ is the Messiah, the Savior of the world, that he died on the cross for the sins of the world, that he rose from the dead, that he ascended into heaven. And I believe he's coming back again soon and very soon, and I want to be ready. So right here, right now, by faith in God's grace, in the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, in the name of the Holy Ghost, in Jesus' name, I am saved, I'm saved, I'm saved. I'm healed, I'm delivered, I'm set free, I'm born again, I'm saved in Jesus' precious name. God bless you. Welcome to the family. You just got saved by faith. For by grace are you saved through faith. It's not of ourselves. It's a gift of God. It's not of works. You couldn't earn it. You can't buy it, but you can receive it by faith. So it's in him that we live, move, and have our very being. Heidi, I want to thank you for trying to help me work through all these issues tonight and Bart Begley was also helping us tonight. And Israel Hall had to work miracles in here to get us back online. But tell others that they can still watch this program over at our website at paulbegleyprophecy.com, or they can watch it at Patreon. Heidi will post it at Patreon, and they'll be able to see it. So we'll try to get up on our regular channel. And we will be continuing to broadcast. I'll let you know where the live broadcasting will be, but we know we can do it at our website, and so we'll be connecting. I want to thank Israel Hall for really doing a great job letting us get on here. Moderators, thank you guys so much for helping us. God bless everybody. Now listen, the Passover starts April 5th through the 13th. I want you to send your best Passover offering. Do what the Lord said to do. I'll teach on it. Obey God, send your offerings, and send your prayer requests so I can take them to Israel with me when I go later this year again to the wall to pray. If the Lord opens the right doors, I'll go. And whenever the next time I go, whenever that is, I'll take them and pray at the wall. So obey God and be blessed. Good night, everybody. I'll try to figure out how to shut this down. I don't know if I know.
Your StreamYard, probably top right.
Top right. I'm working. Okay, I see it.